Hey everybody, welcome back to Mel's Board Game Room. So today I'm going to be showing you the game Maki Master. I got it last week or the week before. Like it was recently, was a Kickstarter and they just kind of recently did deliveries, and then I got my copy just last week or two. And we played it a few times. Now, I've originally played this one years ago when it was under the name of Wasabi, and this is a remake of that game. From what I remember, it plays very similar. And I'm just going to show you what the game is like. So let's get that set up here. Perfect. So I've got the game set up here. Now, it's set for 2 players. You will put a little teacup on the board for the number of players. So in this case, I've got it set up for 2 players. I would put these anywhere on the board. It doesn't really matter. Now, if you were playing 3 players or 4 players, this here would move over. So that would be 3 players. Off the board would be 4 players, and then your board would just be bigger. But you just kind of cover, and it gives you kind of a smaller area that you would play with. Everybody starts with 3 recipe card, a 2-ingredient recipe, a 3-ingredient recipe, and a 4-ingredient recipe. And a little bowl for holding your wasabi. So, now I want to point out, so I got my wasabi cubes in here. The game comes with the wasabi and then the big wasabi. And when the Kickstarter, the big wasabi is actually shaped, but for some reason my copy didn't come with it. So I'm going to have to reach out and see if I'm able to get replacement for that, because it didn't come. But this game is super simple to play, and the player A just kind of walks you through the whole thing. So step 1, you play 1 tile. Then step 2, you either serve or you prep. And then it explains the prep here, explains the action card, and then the end game, because it is straightforward. So, another thing I want to point out as well that's super cool is this is actually part of the tray that goes in the box. This is how it's stored. You just pull these tray out and you put them next to it, and then they're all sorted and available to play. Otherwise, you would have these tiles kind of put onto the table, and you would have to organize that ahead of time. So these trays make getting ready to play and getting going with the game super, super fast. I'm so impressed with that. All right, so I would start. So I start with 1 tile. So before I play a tile, I'm going to look at the recipes that I have. Now, these bigger recipes here will require more ingredients, but they're worth more points. And you'll notice there's a second reward here. So if I'm able to get all of these ingredients in a row, and I'm able to put it in the same order, I would collect the wasabi as well as the point. Otherwise, I get just the points at the end of the game. So we have this one, the rainbow roll. I also have the royal prawn. And we have the tie. So now, one thing is the board is going to get filled. So doing the bigger recipes are going to be a little harder. One thing I'm noticing here as well is I have some kind of overlapping ingredients. So I might want to try to arrange to be able to do that. I think I'm going to try to work on my big one, mainly because there's room right now. So based on this, and I have an ingredient that matches here. So I'm going to grab this one here, and that is the red snapper. So that's the ingredient. Oh, I'm not in the right spot here. So here's the red snapper, and I'm going to add that to the board, and I can put that anywhere. Now, if I wanted to put it where there's a cup, I could. I would just move the cup. The cup is really just kind of like a filler. So I'm going to put that there for now. Okay, so I've done my step 1. I played 1 tile. So now I'm looking at my step 2, and I can either serve or prep. I'm not able to serve because my smallest is a 2-ingredient card, so I can't do that. So I would go to the prep, which I have here. So you choose one of the option for prepping. So I can gain 1 action card. I can only have 2 maximum, and you have these different action cards here. And these are going to give you abilities to kind of maneuver the ingredients on here, so you can shift things around to make your recipes work. So they're very helpful. We have stack here, so this would allow me to put a tile on top of where there's already a tile. Spicy, I can spend wasabi from the supply to place a tile from the pantry. So it just allows me to put like an extra tile. And then, oh, I'm sorry, I think we start with the wasabi in the public wasabi area. And then with this one, when serving, I would gain a wasabi for each fish or seafood ingredient in the recipe. Now, and fish is in blue, and the seafood is in the brown background. So this one has a lot. So that would be worthwhile if I wanted to take the torch. Now, the other thing I could do is I could take all of the wasabi from the pool and add, and then I would take all of this, I would add that to my bowl, and then I would add another one here. Now, there's only one wasabi right now. Now, the benefit of wasabi is they are worth 1 point at the end of the game, so you want to collect wasabi. But I might not do that yet. Or I could discard any number of recipe, then draw from the deck to refill your hand to 3 recipes. Ignore the drawn cards back. Oh, then you don't get to activate those abilities of drawn cards. Okay, so I'm going to decide to do the action cards. I'm going to collect this action card because if I can do that recipe, that would be a lot of extra points I can activate, and then that gets replaced. And then we got snake. Now, what's cool with the snake is when you complete a recipe, they have to be in order. If you have the snake card, you could kind of add a bend in your recipe, and it doesn't have to be in a straight line. Okay, so that was it for me. So now it's the other player's turn, and they're going to look at what they have. Unfortunately for them, the ingredient I've played doesn't play at all into what they want. Now they do have two recipes here that kind of utilizes the wrapped rice, and I'm sorry, what is it called? It's called maki. Okay, so there's 2 recipes they have that requires the maki, and it also requires the tempura. So I think I'll start working on these ones to try and put those 2 ingredients together. So I'll start my turn and I'll put maki ingredient right over here for no reason other than I'm trying not to be over there so they don't come and get in my way, because they will change ingredient and they will get in your way. Be prepared. All right, so I've got my crunchy tuna roll is on its way, or my fried clam roll also is on its way, so that's good. Now, if I want to do them in order, unfortunately, there's an ingredient here that's not going to match. So for my prep, because I'm obviously not completing a recipe here yet, I'm going to take the stack card so that I could maybe do one, then use the stack to change the one ingredient to do my second recipe. So that's what I'm going to plan with this one. Perfect. And then this gets over here. Now we have switch that came out. So that one allows it to take 2 adjacent space and swap their content so you can move some ingredients around. So that's handy. Okay, I'm back to me and I am continuing with my recipe. So I have my red snapper that's going to be utilizing both of these. So just to show you how to do a recipe here, I'm going to go and do this one. So I have the red snapper. I'm going to take the nigiri, which is my sushi rice, and then I will add this here. And for my step 2, I have completed this recipe, so I'm going to serve. So score 1 or more recipes. Now you can complete multiple recipes by laying the tile, as long as the recipe you're completing is utilizing a tile that was placed this round or kind of moved this round. So I've completed this recipe. This is going to give me 3 points. It's in the right order, which with a 2 recipe it always is. This also allows me to take an action card. So that's good. I will take blah, blah, blah. I think I will take spicy so that I could play 2 tiles in 1 row. So I think that would be handy. I'll put this here and then I'll put my recipe there to show that this one has been completed. So now, so it says score 1 or more recipe from your hand that you contributed it to on this from Yeah, so from the tiles we've contributed this tile. So 2-part recipe, gain 1 action card when you get 2 maximum. If it's a 3 recipe with style, you would gain the wasabi. It's not a 3 recipe, I got the action card. So now you keep your score recipe face down in a pile and draw your refill from the 3 recipe. So I would put that over there. This one is done. I know this. Now I would draw another recipe because you always keep 3 recipes in your hand. Now I could take another 2 ingredient recipe. Those are definitely the easiest one to complete. Now, if I take a 3 ingredient recipe, I get to add a wasabi to my own personal bowl and get a wasabi in the communal bowl, I call it. If I take a 4 ingredient, 1 goes in here. And if I take a 5 ingredient, then 2 wasabi gets in here. So I'm going to take a 3. And then I get 1 wasabi in my bowl and 1 wasabi gets in here. So remember, if we do the prep and we decide to take the wasabi, now there's 2 wasabis to collect if we do that as our prep action. Okay, so that was me. Now it's back to the other players. So they are working on this recipe. They know they're both going to be using the tempura here. So let's go get that. Where is that? Is it? Am I in the right color? Yes. Okay, so I got the tempura and I'm going to place it here because that's where, if I want to follow the order, that's where it needs to go in order to get my recipe with style and get the bonus wasabi. So that's what I'm going to do. Then for my prep, I'll go ahead and take the wasabi and then that gets replaced. Oh, this should have been replaced here. So we have a slice. Now slice, you can swap the top tile in a space with a tile of the same category from the pantry, but it would have to be one of the same category. So that could be useful. But we'll keep that in mind. Okay, so that was that turn. So we're back to me. What am I working on? Oh yeah, I'm working on this one. What did I get? The new one. Nothing that I've placed yet, so that's too bad. All right, and I want to do this one. So let's go add the tuna. So I'm adding the tuna here. For my prep option, take one of those. The wasabi is almost all gone. I want to keep my recipe, so I'm not going to worry about the recipe. I have a fly in my office here, and it's driving me crazy. They're kind of like, it's starting to cool down, so they're a little slow, and they're just super annoying. Okay, so I want to do something. I will take the switch. Oh, no, wait, I can only take 2, and I have 2. And I want to keep these 2, so I'm not going to take the switch. I'll take the wasabi. Why not? Okay, back to this person. So I have the tempura. So we could do the tuna roll and just get this done. So we take the tuna and it'll go here. Now keep in mind, like ingredient-wise, there's only 1 tuna left. So if I have another recipe that would require tuna and it's all on the board, I'm going to have to work with what's on the board or utilize the action card to manipulate. Okay, so I have done that. Then for my step 2, I'm going to serve because I have completed this crunchy tuna roll recipe. Doesn't that look just so delicious? So this is going to give me 4 points. And also because it's in the same order as what the recipe says, I get a bonus to wasabi. So this is going to be 4 points here that I have towards the end of the game. I'm going to put this one on this side to show that it's completed. And I get to pick a new recipe. And I will take a 3 ingredient one as well to get 1 wasabi into my bowl and then 1 into the public one. Okay. Well, these don't work super well together, but it's not the worst. Okay. So that was for me. What do I have here? Now, I have a few things I could do here because I want to complete this recipe. So I have 2 ingredients I need to put. So I would put my 1 ingredient, which is the salmon. And I could spend, my spicy so that I can spend a wasabi to the supply and then place a towel from the pantry. So I'm going to do that. I'll discard the spicy. I'll give up this one wasabi, but it allows me to place an extra ingredient, and then I'm going to be putting this one here. So then I get to serve this one, and I'm going to activate the second action, which gains me a wasabi for every fish. There's 3 fish ingredients in this recipe. I've also matched the pattern exactly, so I get another 2 wasabi, and then that's going to give me 7 points. So that would go there. This has been spent. I get to collect a new recipe. And do I want to try a big one? I'm going to regret it, but let's try a big one. Okay, so we'll put 2 wasabis in the public bowl because that's what that says. And then we got a squid salad sandwich. Doesn't that look delicious? But if I'm able to complete this one in order, that gives me 3 wasabi. And if not, it still gives me 10 points. So these are really nice. Now, how much of these ingredients are out there already? Almost none of them. The only thing that's already out there is this one, and that's gonna suck. Okay, so that was me. We're back to them. So we finished the one, and I want to do this one, but now I have tuna where I need to have this. So I'm gonna use my stack, and I am grabbing. What am I grabbing? I am grabbing the clam, and I'm going to stack the clam on top of the tuna. And that's getting me a little closer to my recipe. And there's a lot of wasabi here, so I'm going to go collect that for my step 2. So there we go. Back to me. What do I want to work on now? It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. I think maybe I'll start working on this one and just kind of branch out from what I have here. So I'm going to go and add, that's not it. Oh, I'm in the wrong section altogether. I'm going to add some shrimp right over here. And then let's go see what is available. I'll take a switch card because I'm all out of action cards now. So I have room to take more now. Oh, there's another spicy. All right. Back to me, and I'm gonna finally complete this recipe. So I'm gonna grab this scallion, and I'm gonna move the cups. I can put my recipe, and I'm gonna mention you can place your ingredients on top of the cups. You just move it out of the way and put it just wherever you want. And then I have accomplished this recipe, which is gonna give me 7 points. It's also in the order. In the perfect order that the recipe calls for. So that's going to give me an extra 2 wasabi. And then I would draw a new card. Let's say I take a 4 ingredient. The 4 ingredient is going to put 1 into the dish, the wasabi dish. So there we go. And then I got volcano roll. So that looks tasty. All right. So that's basically how Maki Master plays, and basically you go until everything is filled on the board, except and you have your 2 cups, but everything else is filled plus your 2 cups. So then that triggers the end of the game. And then so what it says, a space is full if anything is in it. Each player takes 1 final turn, so you would get 1 final turn trying to complete a recipe. Since there are no empty spaces, players without useful action cards will have to skip step 1. Then you would just do the step 2. So that's where you kind of maybe want to have an action card in your reserve that will allow you to switch or stack or do something. Then you tally up your completed recipe value plus 1 points for every wasabi that we have collected. Now look how many wasabis I have here. So over in this case here, I would have had 16 points so far, and this player would have 11, a lot more. So player 2 definitely won this game this round. So that is, oh, that's froze. My camera is acting up. But yeah, so that is how Maki Master play, which is, as I mentioned, a remake of Wasabi. Components are amazing. The artwork is super cute. I love filling the ingredient and kind of fulfilling the recipes and placing the correct recipes. Now, and you can kind of work with what the other player has placed, but eventually they will have placed things that kind of gets in your way as the board fills up. So that is really interesting, and it's just a really, really neat game. So be sure to follow me if you'd like. I am on YouTube. It's Mel's Board Game Room. My Facebook page is Mel's Board Game Room. I'm also on Instagram as Mel's_boardgame_room. And my podcast that I do with my friend Carla is The Board Game Specialist. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye, everybody.